Okay, so this is starting chapter 1, and here is our beginning title screen. So we are starting chapter 1, and our chapter 1 is all about economic way of thinking. Okay, so first thing is scarcity. We just said scarcity is the fundamental problem of economics. Okay, so we do have to define it. So, as I mentioned, helps if I'm going this way. There we go. Okay, scarcity is not having enough resources for your unlimited wants. Yes?
Do we have to take notes in an
No.
Or on paper?
No. You, as long as you can turn it in to me.
So like we get email?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so scarcity is not having enough resources to satisfy your wants. As I mentioned with the Starburst thing, this is when we have an unlimited amount of things that we want. If we're talking about other things other than candy, we could go around the room and we could list all the things that you want, okay? But the problem is that we don't have an unlimited amount of resources. So, for example, you guys probably all have a bank account of some kind. You have an X amount of dollars in that bank account, okay? Or you have a paycheck that you get, okay? But you have a long list of things that you want, okay? They don't match up, right? You can't go and buy all the things that you want with the money that you have. So, as a result, come on, there we go. You have to make choices, okay? Economics is the study of how people satisfy their unlimited wants with their limited resources. In other words, how do I make those choices? I have this long list of things that I want to get. Everything from I want to get new struts for my car to I want to go out to dinner tonight to I want to go to Tahiti. Okay? Can't afford all of those. Got to make some choices. Economics is studying how do we make those decisions. Okay, just a logistics note. I did try and put all of the terminology in red and in bold, okay? Therefore, when we're talking quiz test time, and if I say there's like a matching section or a fill in the blank section, those are the terms that you'll need to know for that kind of section, okay? So, just a logistics note. So, scarcity, economics, terms, you should know them. Okay, so economics is a study of how people satisfy their unlimited wants with their limited resources. Yesterday, we talked about also some of the basic kind of terms that go along with this. So one of the things that we talked about yesterday was, well, there's our Starbursts from yesterday. So that's, remember we had an unlimited amount of Starbursts that we want, but we have a limited amount, so we have to make some choices about which ones we're going to choose. Okay, yesterday we did talk about needs versus wants. Notice, needs and wants are in red and bold. Yes, they are terms. So that does mean that they could pop up. No, I did not define them. We defined them yesterday. So let's kind of review how did we differentiate between needs and wants? They're necessary for life. They're necessary for basic survival. So, what were our needs? Water, shelter, clothing, food. Food, water, shelter, clothing are our 4 needs, right? So, how do you define wants then? Okay, the things not necessary to survive. They're kind of the extras. They're the sugar on top kind of a thing, okay? So remember that they are the extra things. Those are the things on that are not needs. Then we also talked about goods and services. So the difference between a good and a service. Okay, a good is an item you can actually hold, you can actually touch, the tangible item. So what's service then? An act done for someone else. So this is going to be work done for someone else. Now, remember, we did make the distinction yesterday. For example, if we're talking about a car, is a car a good or a service?
Good.
Good. Okay. What about a limo?
Good.
It's still good. You pay for a limo ride, but they are using the limo that is a good. Okay, the ride is the service. The limo itself is a good. Okay, please make sure you make that distinction. Did we talk about education yesterday? Can't remember. Okay, education, is that a good or a service?
Service.
It is a service. Okay. Do we use goods in education to provide education? Yes. All right. We did not talk about yesterday the producer versus consumer, but I wanted to make sure, I put it up there because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm sure we are. Difference between a producer and a consumer. Okay, so producers provide a product and consumers buy it or use it. And when I say product, that's including goods and services. Okay. So, can you be both a producer and a consumer? Yes, most definitely. How? Give me an example. Sammy?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you could like a store, like a grocery store or something, so you could be providing the food to like the city or wherever your neighborhood, but you could also like buy that food too. Is that what you're looking for?
Okay, so you are using the food potentially. If you buy it at the grocery store, you could be buying it to go and give it to somebody else, and that would be. Is that what you're saying? Is you're a producer?
Like the producer would be like the owner.
Okay.
Or
Or
like
the
the
store.
farmer.
Okay. All right. Okay. How could one person be both though?
Because they can also buy those goods.
Okay. So you could own the store, but you could also go and purchase your own goods.
Yeah.
All right. Uh huh.
I was just thinking, like, in the morning, you can make yourself some eggs and then eat the eggs.
Yeah.
So you're producing the eggs cooked, and then you're consuming the eggs. Like, is that what
Okay. Okay. Kinda. Sure. Yeah.
So like, you like buy stuff to like create your product. So
Uh-huh.
Like other people, that's how you make your product and you sell your product.
Yep, that's the most common way. For example, yesterday when we talked about massage, okay, a masseuse, they use goods, don't they? Yeah. Okay. What's a good that a masseuse would use? Lotion or an oil. Okay. So at some point, the masseuse was a consumer because they had to go and buy that lotion or that oil or even their table or whatever. They were a consumer. When they go and give people a massage, they are a producer. Does that clarify how you can be both? Okay, you can be both at the same point in time. Okay, so just as a kind of a synopsis and a reminder, so on the left we have a hairdryer, on the right we have a mechanic. So the hairdryer is a good, the mechanic is a service. Food, okay, on the left I have a food pyramid. That's our need. Okay, because we need food. But on the right, I have some steak. Okay, we don't need steak; we want steak. And some people say that. Okay, and the best example, the best pictorial example of a consumer is this lady with the shopping bags. And I hate to say it, but oftentimes it's women with shopping bags. You don't often see men walking around with a whole bunch of shopping bags. And then Apple is our producer. However, like I said, you could talk about Apple being a consumer and a producer because Apple consumes, they have to buy things to be able to make, for example, the iPad, okay? And then they're a producer because they actually go and make the iPad. All right, anybody have questions about this so far? Okay, I got one last slide and then we are done. All right, something called 3 basic questions. Because of scarcity, because ultimately all resources are scarce, everything is scarce, countries, businesses have to answer 3 basic questions in how they are going to deal with scarcity. They have to answer these questions to determine how they're going to deal with scarcity. The first question is simply, and it's going to be a kind of a what are we going to produce? What are we going to make? Okay, so every country, every company has to decide that. What are we going to make? If we're talking about countries, you could talk about, are we going to be a really highly industrialized country where we're going to make these small little microchips and we're going to be making these technological products and things? Are we going to be a country that just provides a whole bunch of services and a lot of people that are just working for labor? Okay? Or are we going to be a very agrarian society and we're going to produce a whole bunch of farming? We're going to produce a bunch of crops. Okay? Everybody has to decide that. What are we going to produce? Okay? Now, that doesn't sound like it's and using the scarcity, but it is important because you have to decide what you have and what you can produce. The second question is, how are you going to produce it? Again, that goes back to scarcity because based off from what you have available to you, how are you going to produce it? So let's go back. Let's say that we're going to be a farming community. Okay. If we want to be a farming community, okay, we got to decide how are we going to produce it. Are we going to go with an ox and a plow? Are we going to do with a hand, and we're going to use our hands to dig the hole and plant the seed, and we're going to use our own tools to be able to do that? Or are we going to use a great big combine and a great big tractor? Okay, how are you going to do this? Okay, the last question is simply, who are you producing for? For whom? Now that sounds like, well, everybody, right? What we will find when we get to chapter 2 is it depends upon what kind of country you're in. Okay? Some countries, they let the producers decide, okay, who are you making this for? You may have, for example, niche markets where, if you're making, you're making purses. Women can relate to this. You got different, levels of purses, right? Are you talking about the cheap knockoffs that you're going to find in Walmart? Are you talking about the high-end, Gucci purses? Are you talking about something in between? Who are you making this for? Who are you marketing it to? Okay? How does that impact your use of scarce resources? Does it make a difference? Okay? What about something guys can relate to? Clothes. Is there a difference in clothes from Walmart, which I'm not knocking Walmart, I bought clothes at Walmart, and say Abercrombie?
Walmart's
Is there a difference in the actual clothes?
cheaper.
I'm not talking price. I'm talking actual materials.
Probably not. But it's brand name.
Some of it is just brand name. Some of it is that they may use, different materials, and especially like the manufacturing of those particular clothes. They may be both cotton, but how you process that cotton, how you stitch it together, that makes a difference. Okay, so what I'm saying is that for whom, what, and how all determines how you're going to use those scarce resources. So, for example, let's go back to that wheat. Let's say that we're going to make wheat. Our country's going to make wheat. Okay, great. So we're going to decide we're going to use this great big combine, this great big tractor. We're going to go high tech here to make our wheat. And we are going to, decide that we are going to make it, gluten-free. Okay, that's the new thing, right? Gluten-free. So we're going to make it gluten-free for only specifically, obviously, I just have a picture of a family up there. You can't tell that they are people that eat gluten-free. But the gluten-free family, okay? My point is that it makes a difference, okay? Because if you're producing for a family that wants gluten-free products, does it impact how you're going to make use your wheat? Yes, okay? So please realize that these questions, while they are really, really simple, they are really important in determining how you use scarce resources. Okay, does anybody have any questions? All right, I am done with these notes, so I would like you to open up your book to page 8, please.